A severe storm occurred on the planet Mars, which is about 80 million kilometers away from Earth. This storm hit a team of cosmonauts who were conducting observations on Mars at the time. The casualties are not yet known, however initial reports indicate that this storm was devastatingly severe and the cosmonaut team was affected. A planet, a human, and just one breath. You are the only survivor of the storm that occurred about 4 hours ago. You are an astronaut and you came to the planet Mars with your team to conduct observations. While you were observing with your team, a storm suddenly broke out. You couldn't see anything, voices couldn't be heard, and signals couldn't be received. Be careful, everyone thinks you are dead. However, unfortunately, during this evacuation process, astronaut Mark Watney lost his life due to an object that hit him. Actually, the logic should be this, because the probability of survival on an unknown planet after a severe storm is almost zero. But despite everything, instead of silence, some signal sounds were heard after this storm. Those signals belong to a human. For the first time you are alone on a foreign planet. You can barely stand up and start moving with heavy steps. Moreover, you have a severe wound from the night. There is a station center about 250 meters away from where you are and you need to reach it. Yes, here we are. You hurriedly take off your suit and try to heal your wound, because if you don't do this you could faint in about 30 minutes and then lose your life. You are alone with your wound, feeling anxious and terrified. There is no doctor or any person with you, meaning there is no one to help you. Yes, it is the evening of the first day and you are on Sol 19. After healing your wound, you go to the computer and start recording a video log. Alright. Hello, I'm astronaut Mark Watney. I'm making a log entry for recording purposes just in case I don't make it. The time is now 0653. We are on Sol 19 and as you can see I am alive, but this situation will be a shock to my crewmates and of course to NASA and even the whole world. So you are in one of the most difficult situations a person can experience. You are lonely, scared, anxious, and you don't know what to do. You are on a foreign planet in a foreign station center. Being alone, being scared, or being on a foreign planet is a terrifying event in itself, but no matter what, you are alive now and you have to do something. Wait alone for death or do your best and fight. Probably no one would choose the first option because that would be too simple and meaningless, so you need to act to fight challenges and your struggle for survival await you. I have no intention of dying here. Yes, you are on day 21. In the future you will understand the value of this day, but before that you need to do something. By the way, you are recording everything you do this way. When they come here they will know you didn't die. While examining the station you start checking the food stocks in the cabinets. If you consume more food than necessary you will bring about your own end, so by making small calculations you decide which food to consume, and when while rummaging around something suddenly comes to your mind. Let's see this one. Alright, let's do the math. Our research mission on the Martian surface was supposed to last 31 days. As a precaution they sent food for 68 days. This was for 6 people, so for me alone there is food for 300 days, which I can stretch to 400 if I'm frugal. So I have to find a way to grow food for 3 more years on a planet where nothing grows. Luckily I'm a botanist. Mars, you should be scared of my botanical powers. Discoveries continue and you keep working. Although your healed wound gives you trouble, you don't stop. Sometimes you face problems, but this doesn't discourage you. A few days pass and you step into day 24. You carry the soil you collected from the Martian surface to the station center. This is a very tiring job, so it's good to take breaks from time to time. We have reached day 31 and I have plans for the main focus of the center. You had spread soil on the surface here. Now you are creating a kind of field by drawing space lines. You mix some human feces you found with water and use them as fertilizer. As bad as it may seem, this is my only option and I need it. Then you carry the potatoes stored as stock to the center. You divide each potato into 2 pieces. Then you put the fertilizer you obtained on the soil and cover it with half a potato piece. Of course you add some water, otherwise nothing you do will work. The biggest problem is water. I have created a 136 square meter field inside the hab. But for it to be arable, every 1 cubic meter of soil needs 40 liters of water, so I have to produce much more water. Luckily I know the recipe. You add oxygen to hydrogen and burn it, and right now I have hundreds of liters of unused hydrazine from the Mars lander. If I pass this hydrazine through an iridium catalyst it will separate into nitrogen and hydrogen, and somehow I will direct this hydrogen to a small area and burn it. Luckily in the entire history of humanity no one has ever had anything bad happen to them from lighting hydrogen on fire. You speed things up a bit and continue to advance your plan with the resources at your disposal. Just as you achieve what you wanted, yes, an explosion occurs. Yes, that's right, I blew myself up. The cause of the explosion was most likely the extra oxygen in the room. I forgot to account for my own breath. Because I'm an idiot you may have had a problem, but that doesn't mean you will give up. Your faith is strong and this time you increase the precautions and try again. This time you succeed and then you go to sleep. The next day when you check you see with your own eyes that what you wanted has happened. On one hand you count the days, on the other hand you take care of your needs. When you reach day 54 you encounter something unexpected. Yes, one of the potatoes you planted has started to grow. Of course, while your struggle for survival continues on Mars, the situation on Earth is still the same. Everyone is more than sure that you are dead and there is no rescue attempt in question. Of course, even if such a thing happened, it doesn't look very hopeful since it would take them about 4 years to reach Mars. Someone working at NASA's Mission Control Center sees something that no one else has noticed. He notices that the satellite images taken after day 18 when the mission was forcibly terminated have changed. He immediately takes action and tries to talk to the authorities. When they get together, they start analyzing these images. First, the solar panels have been cleaned. It could be because of the wind. Rewind, look at rover 2. According to the logbook, Commander Lewis connected the vehicle to the hab for charging on day 17. Of course, in the meantime, things on Mars are going full throttle. When you reach Sol 70, you start doing a small calculation. These calculations are about the arrival of the next NASA team to Mars. When they arrive in 4 years, they will land in a crater on the Martian surface. Of course, since the vehicles you have can't travel very far, it is very difficult for you to reach that crater, so you have to use your head and find a solution to this. If you use all the heaters for the vehicle, it will be impossible to reach that crater, so you have to endure the cold. Even though it is difficult, of course, this will become impossible after a while, because how long can you endure? While trying to think of a different way, you find a clever idea. Now, if I remember correctly, one of the lessons we took was to never try to remove the box full of plutonium. I know RTGs are good for spaceships, but if they break near people, there won't be any people left. That's why we buried it as soon as we arrived. We also put a flag on it to prevent us from being foolish and getting close to it, but as long as I don't break it, I was about to say there would be almost no problem. Look, after all, I'm not cold anymore, and of course I can figure out that the reason I feel so warm is the radioactive isotope ready to disintegrate that I am carrying on my back. But I have more important problems right now. You are on day 79 and it has been exactly 48 solar days since you planted the potatoes. You have actually achieved much more than you expected because you have exactly 400 healthy potatoes in your hand. You replant the small ones and start using the big ones as food. On the other hand, you need to contact NASA. Otherwise, everything you've done will be for nothing. While continuing to work on one hand, you look for ways to connect with Earth. You actually find a few noteworthy things. After establishing a small communication with Earth, things get a little easier as communications continue. The days keep passing. Of course, while everything is going well, it is unfortunately impossible for something not to go wrong, so a disastrous event happens to you. Your potato farm is destroyed, your morale is shattered, and all your crops are gone as a result. Since the entrance to the station center is completely open, you have to repair it no matter what, because you consume the remaining food stocks here, and most importantly, you meet your personal needs here. By the way, it's worth mentioning this since your crops are completely destroyed. While I normally had a 400-day food stock, this number has now dropped to 200 days. Yes, half. Now I have to hold on until the rocket brings me food. What is the minimum calorie intake? Would you like to see? This is the standard amount, but instead of eating 3 pieces of this a day, I can only eat 1 of these pieces a day, and now they want me to do this. Your hope may be exhausted, but you were alone at the beginning of this story, and you are alone now. So no matter how much damage you have taken, as long as you are not dead, this struggle continues and will continue. As a result, you are a human, and you are more than right to be anxious, and despite everything, it is quite normal to want to leave a message behind. Commander Lewis, could I ask you to do something for me? If I die, I ask you to visit my parents. I'm sure they would want to hear what we experienced on Mars. I know it will be difficult. It's not an easy thing to face an old couple and talk about their dead child. Not everyone can do that. That's why I'm asking you. I'm not giving up, but I have to be prepared for any eventuality. Please tell them I love this job and I was very good at it, and if I'm going to die, I will have died for something much more important and beautiful than myself. So tell them I am not very sad, and thank them for being my mother and father. While rescue plans for you continue on Earth, everyone is working intensively on a proposed plan. Although this plan doesn't sit well with you, which logically it shouldn't, unfortunately it is the only option for the quickest evacuation. Every Ares mission requires a 3-year pre-supply. How NASA decided long ago that it was easier to send some of it in advance instead of sending it all with us, so that's why the ascent vehicle for Ares 4 is just sitting there in the Schiaparelli crater, and the plan is for me to use that vehicle to get into orbit, and I guess they will catch me just as Hermes passes by from space. No less. 7 months later, a whole 7 months have passed and you are now finished. As for the solar day, you are on day 461. Your hair has grown and your beard has become impossible to shave. But the only thing that hasn't changed is the hope for faith and freedom. A whole 461-day struggle is in question. You are ready now and you are taking action for freedom, and the first one to see every place I go. This is a very strange feeling. You step out of the rover, you are the first person there. You climb a hill, you are the first one to do that. For 4.5 billion years no one was here, but now I am the first person to be left alone on an entire planet. Day 561, and it's finally time to leave Mars. The whole world is waiting on its feet for your rescue. Now it's time to fly. Stabilizer clamps are open. 5 seconds left and hold on tight. See you in a bit. Commander 432. Your speed is 741 meters per second and your altitude is at 1350. You are constantly losing consciousness due to the high gravitational force you are facing. You pass out because you experience 12 gs of force right now. You are flying in a capsule in space. Your intersection distance With the space station waiting for you is 68 kilometers. Yes, this is a terrifyingly large number. Right now you are moving forward, spinning at full speed inside the capsule. There is a team commander trying to get you, but he can't descend to your distance. You find a way that is very risky but is your only option at the moment. You try to open a hole in your suit, use the force in reverse and propel yourself towards the team command. 3.1 meters. Distance to target is 24 meters, 11 meters to target 6 meters. I got him. Houston, this is Hermes speaking. We rescued him. Watney is safe and they managed to reach Watney after all the hardships. They accomplished what many thought was impossible, but you successfully did the impossible. You are the first person to have managed to stay on a foreign planet for about 3 years. Welcome to the astronaut training program. Listen carefully because it could save your life. Believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Before we begin, let's get a few things out of the way. Yes, I managed to survive on a desolate planet by using my own feces as fertilizer. Yes, it was even worse than you imagine, so let's not talk about it again. The question I'm asked most often is this: did I ever think I was going to die when I was alone on that desolate planet? Yes, of course, it's important for you to know this because it will happen to you too. That as space it doesn't cooperate with you, there will come a time when everything will start to go wrong and everything you will say it's over. This is how it ends. Then you either accept it or you fight. There is no other option. You start right away, you do the math, you solve one problem and you move on to the next, then the next until you solve all the problems and come home.